In July 1942, at Fort Benning, Georgia, the 505th Parachute Infantry Regiment was activated, one of the first elite airborne units in the United States Army. Under the dynamic leadership of Colonel James M. Gavin, a brilliant and relentless commander, the 505th would become one of the most celebrated regiments of World War II, the sharp edge of America's airborne spear. Colonel Gavin believed that paratroopers should be smarter, faster, and tougher than ordinary soldiers. He trained his men to fight as small, self-reliant teams, to think independently and strike deep behind enemy lines. Every man in the 505th was a volunteer. They endured brutal physical training, long marches, and constant drilling until they became one of the most cohesive and disciplined units in the U.S. Army. In the fall of 1942, the regiment joined the newly formed 82nd Airborne Division, commanded by Major General Matthew B. Ridgway, a commander as fearless and demanding as Gavin himself. Together, they would forge a fighting force that would change the course of the war. The 505th's baptism of fire came in July 1943 during Operation Husky, the Allied invasion of Sicily. On the night of July 9th, Gavin's men boarded C-47s in Tunisia and flew across the Mediterranean. High winds and fierce enemy fire scattered the formations. Many paratroopers landed miles off course, some in the sea, others in the midst of German positions. But wherever they landed, the 505th fought. Small groups of paratroopers cut telephone lines, ambushed convoys, and seized crossroads. They turned chaos into opportunity. By dawn, they had disrupted enemy defenses so completely that the beachhead landings succeeded with minimal resistance. The 505th had proven the concept of airborne warfare, but at a cost of over 400 casualties. Just 2 months later, the 505th was called again, this time for Operation Avalanche, the invasion of Italy in September 1943. With the Allied beachhead at Salerno in danger of collapse, Gavin's men parachuted directly into the fight, the first American paratroopers to jump onto an active battlefield. They landed under artillery fire, quickly organizing to defend the line. For days, the 505th fought off repeated German counterattacks, often outnumbered and outgunned. Their determination helped save the invasion and secure southern Italy for the Allies. For their actions at Salerno, the regiment earned its first presidential unit citation, and the men coined their enduring motto, "All the way." In June 1944, the 505th prepared for its greatest test, Operation Overlord, the D-Day invasion of Normandy. On the night of June 5, 1944, the 505th led the way, the first Allied unit to jump into Normandy. At precisely 2:10 a.m., the first stick of paratroopers dropped near the town of Sainte-Mère-Église. Despite heavy flak and scattered drops, the regiment rallied quickly. Paratroopers seized bridges, crossroads, and communication lines, cutting off German reinforcements before they could reach the beaches. At Sainte-Mère-Église, paratroopers of the 3rd Battalion captured the town in fierce fighting, making it the first liberated town in France. Colonel Gavin, now promoted to brigadier general, personally led his men in battle, wading through hedgerows and smoke to direct the fight. By the end of D-Day, the 505th had secured the division's objectives and helped pave the way for the Allied advance inland. But the cost was staggering. Over 1,000 men killed, wounded, or missing in Normandy alone. 3 months later, the regiment jumped again, this time into Holland, during Operation Market Garden on September 17, 1944. It was the largest airborne operation in history. The 505th's objective was to capture key bridges around Grave and Nijmegen, holding them open for British armor pushing north toward Arnhem. The daylight jump was nearly perfect. The regiment landed in tight formation, quickly overrunning German defenses. Paratroopers seized the massive Grave Bridge intact, one of the few major successes of the entire operation. For 9 days, the 505th fought house to house, repelling German armor and counterattacks along Hell's Highway. When the operation finally stalled, they had suffered over 700 casualties, but their stand had prevented total collapse. In December 1944, the Germans struck back, launching the Battle of the Bulge. The 505th, battle-hardened and short on rest, was rushed into Belgium to hold the line near Saint-Vith and Werbemont. They fought in freezing conditions, short of food and ammunition, but refused to yield an inch. Their defense blunted the northern edge of the German offensive and helped contain the enemy breakthrough. By January 1945, the 505th was exhausted, but victorious. From Sicily to Belgium, they had fought continuously for 18 months, earning a reputation as one of the toughest and most dependable regiments in the U.S. Army. When victory finally came in May 1945, the 505th Parachute Infantry Regiment stood among the most decorated airborne units of the Second World War. They had executed 4 combat jumps in Sicily, Salerno, Normandy, and Holland, and fought in 6 major campaigns. Their honors included 2 presidential unit citations, the French Croix de Guerre with Palm, the Netherlands Military Order of William, and the Belgian Fourragère. The regiment suffered over 2,800 casualties in Europe, but their courage and sacrifice helped turn the tide of war. From the burning skies over Sicily to the snow-choked forests of Belgium, the men of the 505th lived up to their motto in every battle. They were, and will forever be, the all-American paratroopers of the 505th who went all the way to victory.